You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. On-premises architectures refer to systems, services, and infrastructure hosted entirely within an organization's facilities. All hardware, networking equipment, and storage remain under the direct ownership and control of the business. This model provides maximum visibility and customization, but also requires significant responsibility for maintenance, security, and lifecycle management. Organizations bear the burden of ensuring resilience, redundancy, and compliance without relying on external providers. While on-premises models appeal to industries with strict regulatory or confidentiality requirements, they demand high capital investments and operational expertise. In exchange, organizations maintain complete control over data and systems, avoiding reliance on third-party infrastructure. Centralized architectures consolidate services, management, and storage into a unified environment, typically at a single data center or a cloud provider's regional hub. This model simplifies operations by standardizing policies, tools, and monitoring under one roof. Administrators benefit from uniform configurations, while users experience consistent access. Centralization improves efficiency and reduces administrative overhead, since fewer systems must be managed independently. However, it introduces concentration risks. If the central hub fails, the impact ripples across all connected systems. Centralized architectures prioritize control and efficiency, but their resilience depends on robust redundancy, backups, and well-planned disaster recovery strategies. Decentralized architectures distribute services, data, and management across multiple sites or facilities. In this model, each site may operate semi-independently with its own resources and controls. Decentralization supports resilience by ensuring outages at one site do not cripple the entire organization. It also improves performance when data and services are kept close to users, reducing latency. However, it increases complexity, as each site requires consistent configuration, security, and monitoring. Decentralized models are often chosen for global organizations, critical infrastructure, or military operations, where locality and independence outweigh efficiency. They emphasize resilience and autonomy, but increase management burdens. Trade-offs between architecture styles highlight the tension between control, agility, and cost. On-premises systems maximize control but tie up capital expenses, while cloud-based centralization shifts cost to operational expense and accelerates agility. Decentralized systems improve resilience and locality, but complicate governance and increase duplication of effort. No approach is universally superior. The right choice depends on balancing security requirements, performance needs, and financial realities. For example, a financial institution may prioritize on-premises control, while a fast-growing startup favors centralized cloud agility. Trade-offs are inherent in architecture and must be understood rather than ignored when making long-term design decisions. Centralization simplifies uniform policy enforcement and monitoring. With resources consolidated, administrators can apply access controls, logging, and intrusion detection consistently across the environment. Patching, updates, and audits are easier to coordinate when everything resides in one place. Centralization also enhances visibility, since telemetry streams from fewer sources, reducing monitoring complexity. However, this convenience also centralizes risk, as one breach could impact multiple systems simultaneously. Centralization's strength lies in simplicity, but it demands strong perimeter defenses, layered security, and redundancy to offset its inherent risks. Uniformity provides clarity, but requires equally robust protections to sustain resilience. Decentralization supports resilience and locality requirements by dispersing workloads across sites. In industries where downtime is unacceptable, decentralized models ensure operations can continue independently even if connectivity to headquarters is lost. Local systems can serve users directly, minimizing the impact of network disruptions or regional outages. Decentralization also supports regulatory requirements for keeping data within national or regional borders. While this model enhances autonomy and resilience, it increases the difficulty of enforcing consistent security policies. Each site must maintain its own patching, backups, and monitoring, requiring additional resources and disciplined coordination. Local resilience, therefore, comes at the cost of complexity. Hybrid combinations blend on-premises, centralized, and decentralized elements into a single architecture. For example, an organization may host sensitive systems on-premises, general workloads in centralized cloud services, and regional offices with localized systems for resilience. Hybrid models are increasingly common as they provide flexibility to meet diverse requirements. They allow organizations to balance security, performance, and cost by tailoring solutions to specific needs. However, hybrids demand careful integration. Identity, logging, and data protection must operate seamlessly across environments. Poorly designed hybrids can create silos and inconsistencies. Successful models require intentional governance and tooling to unify otherwise disparate architectures. Identity and access management (IAM) is a critical consideration across architectural styles. In centralized models, IAM is easier to enforce consistently, as a single system governs users and roles. In decentralized or hybrid models, IAM becomes more complex, requiring federated systems or synchronization across sites. Weaknesses in IAM design create openings for attackers to escalate privileges or bypass controls. Best practices include adopting federation, enforcing multi-factor authentication, and minimizing standing privileges. Architectural style dictates IAM's complexity, but the principle remains constant. Users must be authenticated and authorized consistently, regardless of where services reside. IAM unification often defines success in hybrid or distributed environments. Data locality, sovereignty, and regulatory impacts significantly influence architecture choices. Laws such as GDPR or HIPAA may require that certain types of data remain in specific jurisdictions. Centralized models may conflict with these requirements if data crosses borders, while decentralized systems allow data to remain local. On-premises models offer the most direct control, but cloud providers often support regional storage options to address compliance. Architectural design must account for these legal obligations, ensuring that data placement and flow comply with regulations. Decisions about where data lives are not merely technical. They are strategic, legal, and often reputational in nature. Backup and recovery strategies differ between centralized and decentralized models. In centralized environments, backups can be coordinated more easily, with data consolidated into uniform repositories. Recovery processes are streamlined, since administrators manage fewer systems. In decentralized models, backups must occur at each site, often requiring more storage and oversight. This can improve resilience, as multiple sites may hold redundant copies, but it also increases complexity. Organizations must decide whether to centralize recovery at a single hub or allow independent local recovery. Architecture dictates backup design, balancing efficiency with resilience across diverse operating environments. Connectivity dependencies and latency considerations are critical in distributed systems. Centralized architectures rely heavily on reliable, high-bandwidth connections to the hub. If connectivity is disrupted, dependent services may fail. Decentralized models mitigate this by allowing local systems to operate independently, but intersite synchronization can suffer from latency. Hybrid designs must carefully manage these trade-offs, ensuring mission-critical systems remain functional even when links degrade. Security also intersects with connectivity. Remote links must be encrypted, authenticated, and monitored. Architectural planning requires evaluating network resilience, ensuring performance and availability align with the operational needs of the business. Ultimately, architecture choices are driven by business, technical, and regulatory needs. On-premises provides control, centralized models provide efficiency, and decentralized designs provide resilience. Most organizations adopt hybrids to balance these competing demands. The right choice is not static. It evolves as business priorities, technology, and regulations change. Security architecture must remain flexible, ensuring that identity, data, monitoring, and resilience are integrated across all styles. Architecture decisions shape not only performance and cost, but also the organization's ability to withstand disruption and comply with legal mandates. Well-designed architectures align security and business in sustainable, adaptable ways. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Configuration and patch management present unique challenges in decentralized environments. When systems are spread across multiple sites, ensuring every device is patched and configured consistently becomes far more complex. Each site may have its own local administrators, network conditions, or maintenance schedules. Without centralized coordination, gaps emerge, and attackers exploit unpatched systems. Automation and orchestration help, but they require investment in tools that can reach distributed environments reliably. Organizations must balance autonomy at local sites with centralized oversight to ensure compliance. Decentralization increases resilience but complicates discipline, making patch and configuration governance one of its most persistent challenges. Policy distribution mechanisms ensure that security standards are consistently applied across sites. Centralized models naturally support uniform policy, but decentralized environments require deliberate mechanisms to push configurations and controls reliably. Policy distribution may be automated through configuration management systems or enforced via group policies. The key is ensuring that each site aligns with corporate standards without leaving gaps due to local mismanagement. Policy distribution also includes updates to firewall rules, access controls, and identity governance. Consistency is crucial. Attackers exploit differences between sites. Organizations must treat distribution as a continuous process, validating that all locations operate under the same enforcement umbrella. Secure remote administration patterns enable central teams to manage decentralized systems without introducing unnecessary risk. Remote access should flow through secure channels, such as VPNs or dedicated jump servers, and always require multi-factor authentication. Out-of-band management solutions may also provide redundancy during outages. Logging and session recording add accountability, ensuring that administrative activity can be audited. Poorly designed remote administration creates dangerous backdoors attackers can exploit. Strong architectures treat remote administration as a core service, integrating it with identity systems and restricting access tightly. This ensures that even distributed environments can be managed consistently and securely at scale. Data replication and consistency models vary dramatically between centralized and distributed deployments. In centralized environments, replication is simpler, as most data is stored in a single hub with backups extending outward. In decentralized environments, data often resides locally and must be synchronized across sites. This raises questions of consistency, whether updates propagate quickly, and whether conflicts are resolved reliably. Strong models use replication strategies that balance performance with reliability, such as eventual consistency for global data, but strict consistency for sensitive systems. The architectural decision directly affects resilience, compliance, and user experience, making replication strategy a critical design factor. Segmentation and boundary enforcement remain central in multi-site architectures. Each site may act as its own security zone, with strict controls over how traffic flows between locations. Virtual private networks, VPNs, firewalls, and zero-trust principles must be applied to interconnects, ensuring one compromised site does not cascade risk across the enterprise. Segmentation also applies within sites, ensuring local systems remain compartmentalized. Boundary enforcement validates every connection, regardless of origin. Effective architectures combine segmentation with identity-aware policies, ensuring security travels with the user or system. Without these measures, distributed architectures magnify lateral movement opportunities for attackers. Operational scaling and cost implications differ across architecture styles. Centralized environments often achieve economies of scale, reducing cost per service by consolidating resources. Decentralized systems, however, incur higher costs due to duplicated infrastructure, local staffing, and independent maintenance. On-premises deployments require heavy capital investments, while centralized cloud models shift costs into ongoing operational expenses. Scaling in decentralized environments also introduces inefficiencies, as adding new sites requires duplicating security controls and oversight. Organizations must weigh resilience and locality benefits against higher financial and staffing burdens. Cost structures are inseparable from architecture choices, shaping both security investment and sustainability. Disaster recovery planning must be tailored to architectural style. Centralized environments focus on robust failover mechanisms at the hub, ensuring continuity if the main site or provider region fails. Decentralized systems emphasize locality-aware failover, ensuring each site can continue operating independently, even if cut off from headquarters. Hybrid models blend these strategies, enabling both local resilience and centralized recovery. Recovery objectives, such as recovery time objectives, RTO, and recovery point objectives, RPO, differ based on whether data and services are centralized or distributed. Strong architectures embed recovery into design, ensuring resilience is not improvised during crises but planned proactively. Automation and orchestration reduce human error across distributed systems. Manual configuration of multiple sites inevitably introduces inconsistencies that attackers can exploit. Automation tools enforce baselines uniformly, while orchestration coordinates changes across environments. For example, a patch rollout can be scheduled across dozens of sites simultaneously, minimizing drift. Automation also supports compliance by producing audit trails of actions taken. In distributed architectures, automation is not just efficiency, it is necessity. Without it, maintaining consistent hardening and monitoring is nearly impossible. Automation allows organizations to sustain security discipline while scaling operations across complex, decentralized infrastructures. Contractual and vendor considerations become vital when central services are hosted externally. Organizations using managed services or cloud-based hubs must ensure contracts specify responsibilities for security, compliance, and incident response. Vendors must guarantee data sovereignty, uptime, and secure handling of sensitive information. Contracts also need clarity on liability if breaches occur. Without strong agreements, organizations may face hidden risks from provider mismanagement. Vendor selection and contract negotiation become architectural decisions, shaping resilience and governance. A secure architecture is not only technical but also legal, ensuring external dependencies do not undermine overall trustworthiness or accountability. Monitoring and alerting thresholds must adapt to multi-site deployments. A centralized hub may require aggressive thresholds to catch anomalies quickly, while local sites may need looser thresholds to avoid overwhelming analysts with noise. Multi-site architectures require aggregation of alerts into a central security operations center (SOC), with site-specific context applied to tuning. Without careful calibration, distributed monitoring can either miss critical signals or bury teams under excessive false positives. Effective monitoring balances sensitivity with context, ensuring alerts remain actionable. This adaptability turns monitoring from raw telemetry into meaningful defense in architectures spanning multiple environments. Ultimately, architecture selection must balance security, performance, cost, and resilience. On-premises systems offer control but at high expense. Centralized models provide efficiency but risk concentration failures. Decentralized designs offer resilience and locality but complicate consistency. Most organizations adopt hybrids, combining the strengths of each model. The key is aligning architecture to business priorities, regulatory obligations, and risk tolerance. No model is perfect, but a well-designed one acknowledges trade-offs openly and mitigates them through governance, automation, and segmentation. Architecture is not static. It evolves with threats, technologies, and organizational needs, requiring continuous reassessment to remain effective. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.